Everybody, welcome back to this Draft Ranking Show. I am Cody Carpentier, and we're back for another one. This time, it's a Minnesota Vikings 7-round NFL mock draft for the 2025 season. We're going to be going through it. They don't have a lot of picks, so we may make a couple trades here. Generally, we don't make trades on this series, but they have 4 picks: 24, 97, 140, and 161. So we're not going to be shy on missing our 10-minute threshold tonight. I think we're going to get through this damn thing. But Minnesota Vikings, 7-round NFL mock draft. Make sure you click that like button, click subscribe if your first time is here with the Draft Ranking Show. We're live every single morning at 7 a.m. Eastern Time in your podcast feed or on YouTube as well. Make sure you click that like button, click subscribe. And if you're on the podcast feed, make sure you go to the Draft Rankings Show podcast feed and tap in and click that like button, because we also broadcast to the Player Profiler podcast feed, but you only get it at 7 p.m. every day. If you go to the Draft Ranking Show podcast channel, you get it every day at 7 a.m. So appreciate you guys. Love you guys. Let's get after this mock. Let's drop it up on the screen right here. We're going to be using the mock draft database for this one. We go back and forth. Sometimes we use the PFF tool. Sometimes we use the mock draft database. Today, we're going to use the mock draft database, and we're going to pick for the Minnesota Vikings, selecting at pick number 24. Couple of things to go through right here as far as the Vikings depth chart, what they need. My brother calls me all the time, and what are the Vikings going to do? Are the Vikings going to sign X, Y, Z, B, LMNOP, because they don't have but one corner under contract right now, and that is Mekhi Blackman, second-year guy from USC, or third-year guy from soon-to-be second-year guy from USC, third-round pick. He's like, we need corners. We need corners. We don't have a safety. We don't have this. We don't have that. So there's some things that need to be done in free agency for the Minnesota Vikings, and that'll happen this week when free agency opens up. So we'll get after that. This thing, it might be outdated tomorrow, because who knows what the Vikings do in free agency when this bad boy opens. But let's get after this mock. Let's make some moves. They need, at least what we do know, is they need a running back. We know they could use an offensive lineman. We know they could use a third receiver, but they do like Jalen Naylor, so maybe we'll leave it at that. They need a defensive lineman. They've been kind of going with free agents with Jerry Tillery, Jonathan Bullard, Harrison Phillips the last couple of years, and they could, of course, use a defensive back. So it's pretty straightforward what the Vikings need. Let's start this draft. All right. We're up at pick number 24. You can see the names roll off the board if you're watching here on YouTube. Travis Hunter, James Pierce, Will Campbell, Jahdae Barron, Ashton Jeanty, Mike Green, Will Connerly, Emeka Egbuka, Savon Ravel, and the Vikings are up at pick 24. And we get an offer from the Colts to move back from 24 to 45. But our next best pickup is pick 116, 152, and 234. I want another pick into the top 100 if I'm going to move back. So I'm going to reject the Colts offer. The Bengals offer is putrid, and the Commanders offer us to move back to the third round to get a 2026 second. We're going to go ahead and decline that one as well. Armin Membu is available here from Missouri at pick 24. That's not realistic. He's not going to be available when the draft does come around. So let's go ahead and ignore that. The players I'm looking at here are Walter Nolan to play defensive line, specifically running back. I think Omarion Hampton is also interesting here. Omarion Hampton, for me, it's Omarion Hampton, Travion Henderson. I think Walter Nolan is of conversation at this point. I think Gray Zabel. I also don't think Tyler Booker is going to be there. I'm not going to take the guys that I don't think are. I think Tyler Booker and Armin Membu are going to be top 10 picks. So I'm not going to take these guys at 24. It's kind of unrealistic and not fair to the audience. So I'm looking at Gray Zabel, Walter Nolan, Omarion Hampton, and Travion Henderson for the Minnesota Vikings. Again, the Vikings could use a guy at each one of these positions. I think they deal with some offensive line stuff in free agency. I think Zabel's a great tool that they can plug in at left guard over Blake Brandel on day one. You potentially move him to center if you move on from Garrett Bradbury. Potentially play him at right guard over Dalton, or when because Dalton Reisner's gone. I think those are opportunities there. Walter Nolan, though, comes in and plays D tackle in day one for you in place of Jerry Tillery. In this 3-man front, I don't know if I love that as much. And in the backfield, the only running back on your roster is Ty Chandler. I really want to go running back right here, but with this being a team with 4 draft picks, I'm going to lean away from that. I'm going to go ahead and lean away from that. I'm going to take the offensive lineman, Gray Zabel from North Dakota State here. Come on down, join the Minnesota Vikings here in round 1. All right, we got a couple more picks for the Vikings. Again, we talked about it. They only have 4 picks, so we had to trade down there or just deal with what we had to deal with. The next pick for the Minnesota Vikings comes at pick 97 in round 3. They also have 140 in round 5 and 161 in round 5. So we got to make these things tight. We're going to make them sexy, and we got to make them strong for the Minnesota Vikings. You just got Gray Zabel, who can play literally all 5 positions on the offensive line for the Minnesota Vikings. He did it for North Dakota State. He did it at the Senior Bowl, proving his worth. The Rams have offered us to move down 3 spots, and we pick up 126. A part of that offer in round 6. We get one. You know what? I think that's interesting. What's the other offer here? The Browns want us to move down to 103. We pick up 181, 194. I think I like that Rams offer. We're going to go ahead and move down from 97 to 100, drop down 3 spots. We also pick 126 in round 4, 197 in round 6, and the 7th round pick in 2026. So we're going to trade down 3 spots here. The Rams go ahead and take Jake Brittingstool, tight end Clemson, right there at pick 97. Charles Grant's the next pick, followed by Deion Walker. So we took Gray Zabel, offensive lineman from North Dakota State, at the first round. Here in the 4th round, with the last pick in the 3rd round, pick 100. We're going to look at running back. Dylan Sampson is there. Bashal Tootin is there from Virginia Tech. RJ Harvey is here. I'm going to go ahead and run up there with my card and go grab RJ Harvey here at pick 100. I think this is a good value. RJ Harvey's a guy, just ran a 4.4 flat from Central Florida. He's going to go off somewhere in whatever range all the running backs start to go. I could go back and tell you all 100 picks that have happened so far, but I haven't been following the track because it's too difficult in a mock draft like this. But here in round 3, at the end of it, I like RJ Harvey better than I like Dylan Sampson, DJ Giddens, Devin Neal, Bashal Tootin, and Trevor Etienne. So let's take RJ Harvey, running back, Central Florida, 205 pounds, 5'9", 4.4 flat, can catch out of the backfield, multiple 1,000-yard seasons at Central Florida. I love RJ Harvey here for those Minnesota Vikings to pair up with Ty Chandler going forward. There's your running back here at pick 100. We're going to be back on the clock here at pick 140. So we got a running back. We got an offensive lineman. We could go DB and D-line here. I think that's the direction I'm going to aim for the Vikings for the rest of their picks. So let's go look at cornerback. Best available for me is going to be, I like Elijah Huzzie playing nickel. The one thing for the Vikings, they don't really need nickel as much as they need outside corners. They have Josh Metellus and Najee Thompson on the roster for nickel, and they love Joshua Metellus. So nickel's not really a focus, even though I love Elijah Huzzie. Other outside cornerbacks, I like Quincy Riley from Louisville is an interesting selection here. Dorian Strong. That's probably the direction I'm going to go. I'm going to peek at defensive line, though, really quickly. As our timer, coincidentally, is actually moving up on us. CJ West from Indiana is here. He ran 4.91 at 316 pounds. Jamari Caldwell, Vernon Broughton. I think we're going to have a selection here in 15 picks. So we may get a defensive lineman when that thing does come around. I'm going to go corner. I'm going to go Dorian Strong here from Virginia Tech. All right, we're going to be back up here at pick 140, and hopefully we can go D-line and fit this thing in. I'm going to reject the trades, and we're going to go ahead and ride CJ West from Indiana. 316-pound defensive tackle, runs a 4.91. This is a great spot to take him here in round 5. I love some CJ West. He's a guy that popped out directly at the NFL Combine. Back on the clock at pick 161, just a few spots later. Some more team needs for the Minnesota Vikings. We took a guard. We took a running back. We got a D lineman. We got a corner. You could go safety again, potentially. What's available for safety here? Lathan Ransom. That's an interesting one. You know who I love Mac McWilliams here. Let's look back at the offensive line though one more time. Oh, come on. Carson Vincent available in round. I mean, hey, being realistic, man, I've pedaled so hard for Carson Vincent, and for some reason it's not coming to fruition. I'm going to take Carson Vincent here from Alabama A&M. He's a bad man bulldog until the day he dies. We're going to take Carson Vincent, all 6'7" of him. This is a massive human being from Alabama A&M. So there, I think that's the last pick. We may have one more, and if we do, we're going to go ahead and take it just on the defensive side of the ball. I think we're good. Oh, pick 197. I think this is the last selection. We're going to go Quincy Riley. That was a cornerback I was looking at before when we took Dorian Strong. We're going to take Quincy Riley, get a second cornerback. The Vikings need depth. They need to add pieces. They're down Shaq Griffin, Fabian Moreau, Byron Murphy, Stephon Gilmore. They're going to try and re-sign, obviously, Byron Murphy and potentially Stephon Gilmore. But for now, that's the way we're going to move. We're going to move out of here with Dorian Strong and from Virginia Tech and Quincy Riley from Louisville. So as the draft comes down to an end, we're going to see what our grade is, and then we're going to get up out of here. I told you guys, the Vikings only had 4 picks. We're going to get out of here before 10 minutes. The 10-minute mark has hit, and the draft is now complete. We finished out with Gray Zabel from North Dakota State in round 1, R.J. Harvey, the running back from Central Florida, in round 3, Dorian Strong, the cornerback from Virginia Tech, in round 4, along with C.J. West and Carson Vincent. And we finish it out with Quincy Riley, the corner from Louisville, in round 6. There's the draft for the Minnesota Vikings. Hope you guys enjoyed. Click that like button. Click subscribe. I appreciate you guys for tapping in on the daily basis. 7 a.m., the Draft Ranking Show. I'm Cody Carpentier. Love you guys. Appreciate you. Have a good night.